Insulin has been talked about a lot lately, mainly when it comes to trendy diets like keto. You don't want to spike your insulin, so you better cut out your carbs. I've heard it all before. I was personally educated by one of the leading international researchers in ketogenic diet. When you are presented with research that has positive outcomes by someone who is a doctor and a professor at university, it's important to listen. It's also important to note here that his research centered around endurance athletes rather than the general population. Over the years, as this way of eating became more and more popular, along with the increasing consumption of meats and fats like steak and cheese, I began to notice that many people, mainly women, were actually getting sicker. They may have lost some weight in the beginning, but only to a certain point. Then it always stopped, and their health was still suffering. So I made it my mission to find out what was truly going on here. Why did people's cholesterol still go up when eating this way? Why did they pile back on the kilos when they started eating carbs again, almost immediately? Why did they still get fatty liver on this diet when sugar was always to blame? Why did they head straight to metabolic syndrome not long after stopping this diet? Why did people just become so chronically tired and get brain fog? It may have taken me a few years of research, but once I found the answer, it all became so very clear. Too much insulin was the main contributing factor to so many chronic conditions, but it wasn't where the problems began. It goes way deeper than this. Insulin is a hormone which is made and released into the body by the pancreas. It attaches to the cell receptor and sends a message inside the cell to help move glucose from the bloodstream and get it into the cells to be used for energy. Insulin resistance is a disruption in this communication between insulin and the inside of the cell, which means glucose can't get in. The pancreas releases more and more insulin, but there's still a problem in communication. So the end result is way too much insulin and glucose in the bloodstream. Now we've got billions of cells in our body, trillions, and the biggest problem areas for insulin resistance are fat, liver, and muscle cells. And yes, the ketogenic diet can help with insulin resistance by reducing your blood sugars and insulin production while you're eating a high-fat diet, but this is just symptomatic relief. This is confusing the symptoms of high blood sugars and excess insulin production with the underlying problem, which is difficulty in processing the carbohydrates or carbohydrate intolerance. What I started to see in people was that their carbohydrate intolerance skyrocketed once they reintroduced carbs into their diet. Their weight more than doubled what they had lost. Many other signs went up as well, like digestive issues. So the little bit of insulin resistance that they had, which led them to this keto diet in the first place, increased exponentially and catapulted many people straight towards diabetes. Because eventually the pancreas gets tired and just gives up. And we're left with too much glucose in the bloodstream. The ketogenic diet was treating the symptoms while actually worsening the underlying disease at the same time. Now the problem began many, many years prior to this, so let's break it down to a cellular level. There are different types of cells all over our body, and they're the building blocks that make everything. We all start off as a single cell, then we just keep dividing and dividing over and over again, and make all of the amazing parts of the body. The best way I can visually show you all the individual cells is to show you a heart made out of Lego. The individual Lego bricks are the muscle cells that make it. I also found one for liver. This one isn't the healthiest. It's got a few fat deposits there, known as fatty liver. I couldn't find one for fat, so here's some fat cells just to give you a visual. Each one of these cells need to produce energy to keep holding it together. Otherwise, it just dies. Your body will naturally take care of this. It's a natural process. It doesn't create a reaction from the immune system. Cells can also die from toxins or lack of blood supply, and this can leak out and damage neighbouring cells and create inflammation in the body. Cells can also become infected with viruses or bacteria. The neighbouring cells get alerted, which activates the immune system, and inflammation occurs, and they try to restrict the spread, kind of like a lockdown. Many diseases are connected with abnormal cell growth and death, like cancer, autoimmune diseases, viral infections, and heart attack. If our immune system isn't working properly and we don't catch the abnormal cells in time, they will divide and spread. So you can see it's pretty important to keep our cells happy and healthy. We have trillions of them, so it's a pretty big job. One motto I live by as a naturopath is that the body is designed to do the jobs that it does for a reason and has an amazing ability to heal itself, given the right conditions. Different cells require different fuel to keep them going, and most of them require glucose. So why would we stop eating carbohydrates? Well, that's right, to keep insulin down. Now, why is that again? Well, too much insulin creates chaos in the body, and it's connected to so many illnesses like high blood pressure, PCOS, endometriosis, fatty liver, weight gain, depression, acne, hot flushes, hair loss, fibromyalgia, hormonal issues. The list is long. Of course, you'd think carbs are bad. People cut out their carbs and they're still suffering. So what's blocking this message? Well, it's coming from the food you put into your mouth. Sometimes we think what we are eating is healthy, but if you're still suffering from long-term medical conditions, then it more than likely isn't helping you. Whenever I get asked my opinion of why people are getting sicker and sicker, my answer is always the same. It starts with the food. This includes our habits, our choices, our mindset about whether we want to get healthier or not, and it involves eliminating toxins. The food we are eating is creating low-grade metabolic inflammation within each and every one of our cells. So how's the body supposed to function when it's constantly inflamed by the food choices that you've made? Just like you can't walk with a sprained ankle. You can't walk around with this inflammation. Yes, too much insulin causes chaos, but insulin is not the problem here. We need insulin. We need to cut the fat out from our bloods, cut it out from all of our food, and prevent the problems with communication to the cells. When we eat fats, it goes directly into our cells, and it increases dramatically. And this is what's creating disruption with communication with insulin. This is causing insulin resistance, not the sugars. It's the fats in our food. We need to change the way that we're eating. Go through an elimination period so you can see improvements in your health and get the fat out of those cells and get it back into the bloodstream and out of the body, and then we can actually move on and have some nice clear blood flow. I help my patients learn techniques to make these changes. And yes, there are ways you can still have your bread, you can still have your pizza, and you can still have potatoes, and you can still have pasta, and you can still have rice. After going through the detox, we begin to add much better choices in. And you can still improve your insulin sensitivity and your health. There are ways of reducing that long list of conditions. The body's designed to do the jobs that it does for a reason. It's up to you to provide the right fuel and the right environment.